Hello there and welcome to my YouTube channel, Juliet Nail Crafts. So today I am going to play with this. This is something that I have had in my stash forever. And today I'm actually going to finally get round to altering it. I am creating some bits and pieces for our lovely Charmaine from Dolly Dimples, and she has a gorgeous new range of stamps out. There are these fabulous houses. So there's a few more as well, but they're not quite to hand. So I was thinking houses, keys for your house, it all just works perfectly. So it seemed a perfect time to actually do something with this little box that I obviously bought ages ago, thinking, wow, that would make a great altered art project. Honestly, I've got boxes and boxes of all kinds of rubbish. I really need to be getting on and using some of it. Okay, so I am going to start off just by putting a layer of gesso. Now I've asked all the girls at Crafting Together with All Brands, should I gesso inside and out or just on the outside? And the vote has been both. So we're going to go for it. We're going to put gesso absolutely everywhere. So I'm going with black. I don't know why, I felt like black, which probably means it's going to be a bit darker, but we'll see. We'll see how we can kind of, I think if we go for bright funky colours with the houses, it will contrast really well with the dark and work really well. The way that's bending in, it feels like, I was going to say it almost felt like a panel that you can remove, but I think it's just that it's maybe not been overly well popped together. Right, so this is going to take a little bit of effort, I think, to get this all covered up, so I'm going to continue, but I will continue on fast forward because I have a feeling I'm just in the mood for really playing, and I've not played properly in ages, and all the mixed media projects I've started, I've got two half done there that I literally started months ago and I haven't finished them yet. Oops, so really I'm in the mood for a bit of mixed media. So I'm just going to take my time and enjoy it. So as I said, I'm just going to pop you on fast forward while we get the rest of this all painted up. Key thing just drying here, so it's just so it's all sort of covered in gesso now, and I'm just letting it dry. I will put on some extra bits and bobs to bring out the texture, you know, so it's not just plain black, but I kind of want to see what the houses look like first. So I've cleaned my desk, I've cleaned my hands, all the rest of it, and I still managed to get black onto that card. Right, so I am now going to take the houses. These are from Dolly Dimples, so I will link to the Dolly Dimples website in the description box below. So what I plan on doing is maybe stamping out two of each of the houses and a whole load of the accessories, and we'll just sort of colour them in and cut them out so that we can then, we've got lots of elements to sort of play with. Once I've seen how the houses look against the black, I'll then decide what direction I'm going in with regards to other mediums. So we'll just stamp that twice. I am using VersaFine Clear, so it does stay open longer, so there is the risk that you may smudge, but you just get such a nice crisp black with it that I like working with it. So I'm using my Be Crafty stamp block. I'm just putting a little bit of even pressure across the whole stamp. You need to leave time for the ink to transfer, and you can just do a little flex, make sure it's all good, and then off we come. So I'm just going to keep stamping, and then I'll come back when we're colouring. Okay, so I have stamped out a few sheets of the images. This is what I tend to do when I get a new set of stamps, is I'll just get loads of them out, I stamp them onto sheets like this, and then colour them up and cut them out. And I think that's when ideas come to you that you maybe wouldn't have put together. It gives you the opportunity to play with the stamps, various things like that. So I think it's a good way of doing it. Sometimes I have a specific idea in mind and stamp accordingly, and other times I sort of pull lots of bits and pieces out. So I'm trying to get this so that you can see everything on screen fairly easily. Okay, so I have got my Arteza gouache. I will link them in the description box below. My links to Arteza are affiliate links though, so it does mean I get a very tiny piece of commission. I'm just going to have to get water. Okay, so I've just refilled my water. I'm just going to spray these to activate them, and then we will get started. So I'm thinking I'm just going to put like a loose wash of colour over most of this. I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to go over the lines and things like that, and then I will gradually build it up, and I will probably add extra details and things with pencils. So I think I'm just going to put a very loose wash of yellow over the houses to start with, and then that means the windows are sort of slightly tinted. So I'm just going to pop that over first, and then we can gradually build up different colours in different areas. And again, the fact that I'm doing this like this as well, all at the same time, they're all going to look slightly different, but they are also going to coordinate as well. So I may not show you me colouring absolutely everything up, but we can look at some of the stages together anyway. So it's not that I necessarily want all of these yellow, but I'm just thinking the yellow windows will look quite good, and from yellow we can go green, we can go pink and orange, so we'll still have lots of variety within that. Okay, and this is the Dolly Dimples Mixed Media card as well, so it's going to take all your mediums really, really well. So let's have a little think. Now I'm thinking that I might try and go blues and greens at this moment in time. I might do a couple of pink ones just to see how they look, but I'm thinking the fact that I have painted the background of the box black, that the blues and things might look a little bit better, but I could be wrong. Sometimes you never know how these things are going to actually turn out till they turn out. So we'll just see how it goes, see what happens. So I might try a few pink ones just in case. So I'm just building up the colour. As I said, I'm not particularly worried about the detail, I'm just getting colour on it, and then, as I said, I think I'm going to pick out the detail maybe with some pencils, and yeah, pencils, and I've got my my writer pens from Arteza as well. Right, so I've gone in with blue on those ones. I'm going to go in with pink on these other two just to see how they end up looking. And then we've got the ability to, I should have cleaner gone, so that's gone slightly purpley, partly because I haven't rinsed out my brush too much. So at this moment in time I'm still just sort of adding colour tones to it. I'm not building up details, we're just having a very loose wash style. I'm not even thinking about it overly much. I'll do my trees because I always do my trees exactly the same. I like my foliage done the same way. I prefer a green when it's made from yellow and teal. So I will tend to put yellow on first. Let's see. And then I will add a sort of like a teal blue, and I tend to find that mixture gives me really nice greens. I accidentally dipped that in the red, so it's just taking a bit longer to pull it together. And then what I would do is bring in a teal blue and just let the blue and the yellow do their own thing. I tend to find that with watercolour. I like to keep it loose. I'm not particularly painting on it, I'm just sort of touching colour nearby it, letting it bleed in and do its own thing. But I find I get a much more organic look that way, and I find if I go on with a straight pre-mixed green that it just always looks very flat for me. That's just my personal opinion, everyone does things differently. But that's me got my trees sorted there. So I'm going to do the same with the other sheet as well, sort of get it all to this stage, and then we'll look at sort of being a little bit more accurate with our colour and not being quite as loose. So we'll maybe just sort of build up one of the houses together, and then I'll do the rest off camera because I don't want to overly bore you with it. But yeah, I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so I have let that dry. I've got half an hour till I go and pick up her ladyship from school. So I was actually wondering, I was kind of going to go in with more watercolour again, but I've actually pulled out my Inktense pencil. I'm just trying to find a narrower brush. And I'm thinking that it might be easier to go in and be putting in details with that. So I'm just going to add a little bit of colour. Now obviously this is a watercolour pencil, so but it's just going to help me really develop a lot of these shadow areas and just give it depth. So we'll maybe just colour one together and see how we get on. Now what I've tended to find in the past, it's been a while since I've actually worked with my Inktense. Well, I work with them all the time when I'm doing shadowing, but you know, for actually colouring with them. So what I tend to find is I tend to put the water in this bit here where there's no pencil yet and work in, and then pull out, and I tend to find that gives me a softer look to what is going on. And I just find that I get a better blend, as I said, when I start off the pencil. So I start off the pencil and then work into the pencil, and it tends to keep these areas quite dark, and it seems to keep the shading where I put it when I was first putting it down, if it makes sense. The cool thing about Inktense pencils is they do have these lovely watercolour properties and move like watercolour, but also once they've been wet and then they dry, they become permanent like ink, so it's really fun for really building up depth. But yeah, I definitely think now I'm going to pop away these gouaches and stuff. It was great for adding a quick layer, but I think I'm going to definitely be building up my depth with these pencils. So we'll see how we go. We'll do a little bit in real time, and then we probably may need to go off into speed up, but we'll see how we go. I'm going to pop a bit of a dark green there and a bit of a light green on this side, and then a gap in the middle. I have no idea what I'm doing, but hey, we'll do it together. So I'm going to start off activating that lighter green first, and then I'm going to push it into the darker green. But I'm thinking that we're going to get a much more specific look like that. Yeah, absolutely. So let's do that this side as well. Sorry, my phone's buzzing away here. Okay. There we go. I'm liking this. I think we're doing all right. Right, so I'm going to get a paler blue now and just bring this into the eaves here. I might have to pull out a better selection of colours, I think. Let's see what we've got here as well. Ooh, that's a nice bright blue. I'm just going to pull that, because as I said, that I put down before, it's got a permanence to it because it's Inktense, and this is where building it up could be really fun. So we're just pulling that down. So I've not moved, you'll have seen that darkness that I put in straight away, I've not lost that because that has become permanent, and that is what is just so cool. Because if that had been normal watercolours, what you would have found is that whilst you added water to it again, it would obviously be watered down. But you don't get that effect with the Inktense, which is pretty good. Right, so I think what we'll do is I'll maybe just do these little bumpy bits here, bumpy bits, I like that technical term, with you in real time, and then I think I'll go off and we'll just speed up, I think. But what I'll maybe do is I will just do a couple of the houses with you on speed up, maybe one of the trees or something like that. And then I'll just come back when I've done. Now I'm thinking of my shadow areas, so underneath those eaves there's going to be a shadow underneath, and then there's also just going to be shadows in between the little scallops as well. So we're going to work with that like so. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to activate that first part that's going to be a shadow. I'm having issues with this brush. There's a little bit of it that's just sort of spiking out. Right, so I'm just going to activate that and let's move that along like so. And then once I've done that, I'm going to do the same as I did out there. I'm going to start rubbing on the bit with no colour and then pushing it out into the bit that I've coloured. I'll show you what happens if I do it the opposite way around, and then that'll maybe explain why I've chosen to do it that way. So let's just do this here, and then I'll pull another bit of paper, another bit out with you. But basically I can have more control over where the darker and the lighter areas are going to be. So I'm just going to do that. Okay, so I'll just pull in a spare bit of card and then I'll show you what I mean, and then as I said we'll pop on fast forward while we continue to colour. Okay, so I am just going to scribble 2 lines. Oh, I've got a little crying pussycat for some reason. Okay, so when you start off in the dark and pull it out, I mean it does work well, but I don't have as much control over how far that green is travelling. So had I just wanted that to sort of stay in where I have actually coloured, by popping it on the colour first, the water is pulling it down this way, and so I might end up colouring a larger amount than I actually wanted. Whereas if I sort of start on nothing and then come and activate it there, I've kept the colour. So I'll do that again because I kept the colour just to show what I mean. So if I start on the colour, it bleeds out and I'm not having as much control, even if like obviously I was deliberately pulling it out there, but that's me just going on the line. You can see how far that's travelled down. And if I'm colouring in a specific area, I might not want it coming down that far. But by starting off and moving on, I have kept the colour exactly where I've put it. So that's kind of why I do it like that, because it helps me to get that watercolour effect, but it also to stay where I want it to do. And so I always find starting the water off where I've put the pigment and working on, I get a more accurate finished result. So that's why I did it, and I just thought I'd show you that. Right, I'll pop you on fast forward now while I continue to colour. So my little cabinet is all dry. There we go, that's how it's looking just now. And my houses are all done. So I'm thinking that I might just arrange some of these here and then see roughly how it looks. And so I'm trying to see what fits in. These might fit in, but they might need to just be chopped down a little bit. That one, yeah. So some of those I might just have to take a little bit off them. But I'm thinking that if we have some, like, does this one fit on? Yeah, those fit. It's just that there's a little indentation, so these fit in the indentation, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. So if we maybe had two like that, and then we've got this one here, but then we've got an uneven. Right, okay, I'm just, at the minute I'm still contemplating, and then once I've worked out how everything looks, then I'll work out about maybe putting some colours, what colours we're going to put on. Right, so I think we're going to, I hadn't bothered cutting out all of these little fences and things, but I think because we've got a gap between there and there, I may actually have to cut out some of the fences. I'm thinking that maybe if we have something like that. What do we think? This is when I wish I was doing a live. Because then you'd be able to go, yes, no. See, unless, actually, I'm thinking as well, yeah, no, I'm going to get a bit more. I think what I'm going to do is chop some of these down, so that we have more. So that we have something like that. Yes, I think something like that might be quite good. So because of the way, the direction this is going in, I'm thinking that I'm maybe going to get some like blue and maybe some pink gilding waxes, and then we can see what we have left. Now, I was hoping to decorate the inside, but if I use all 5 houses, so let's say this is on the front, roughly. If I use all 5 houses, it means we're just left with 1 for inside. But I still think we might be able to make that work with what we've got, possibly. Yeah, we'll see how we go. I can always colour up some more if it needs be, but let's get the front done. So now I know roughly what I'm doing. Let's pick out some mousses and gilding wax and stuff and just get a bit more interest going on here, and then we can glue it all together. So I have these Nouveau mousses, which are nice colours. I'm not quite sure they're going to go deep enough, but we can have a play. I've got this one, which is a Deco Art Metallic Luster. Let's hope it still works, because it's ages old and I've not really used it, but I think that's nice and rich. And we've got the gold. So I'm maybe going to try this. We'll try these and just see how we get on, how it stands out against everything. So I'm just kind of thinking where the texture is, because that's where we're going to notice these details the most. Because it's going to pick up the highlight areas. So as I said, we'll build up a few different colours. We just want to make this look as interesting as possible. It has picked up on some of that, so I think we'll go with it. I don't think we're going to get an overly clean look to it, so let's just sort of, we'll go with it and see what happens. Build various colours up. But I love how you can take something that's kind of cheap and nasty looking and turn it into something that looks well cool. I said the thinner I go, the more of the texture that we're picking up, and the thicker, the more metallic, strangely enough. So, yeah. Let's see how we go. Now, I'm trying to get in there as best as I can with my finger. To me, I'm just wondering if there's another implement that may work. Yeah, it's looking pretty. So yeah, I think I'm probably going to end up building up a few colours here. So that it blends in with the colours that we've put on our stamped images. So if there's been a change, I just suddenly realised that the first few bits that I recorded I didn't have my microphone plugged in, so it will have still picked my voice up, but it might sound just a tad echoey, but I thought two of the bits are sort of fast forwarded anyway, so hopefully it'll be alright. Oh, look at that. Shining nice, isn't it? So I'm not bothering too much about the centre part. I might in just this direction, this part here, just I'm trying to think about where the images are going to lie. Okay. Right, so that's that. Just trying to see what it's looking like, so that's good. Right, I think let's get a bit of pink on. We'll get some pink and some various touches. So I think we'll have the gold as the main, that blue is the sort of main base, and then touches of pink, not necessarily all the same places, but just touches of it, so that we're seeing the interest of the different colours. Don't necessarily want to sort of colour it all up the same. And then I think about how putting delicate touches, and then like my finger's not a delicate tool, so I end up with a bigger wodge than I'd expected. So you just kind of have to learn to embrace the imperfections and go with the flow. But that's the thing with mixed media, it's about building and building and building and seeing what comes as a result. But so far I think it's looking alright. It looks a lot better than the wooden box we started off with, that's for sure. Right, I think I'm going to have a definite pink edge to this top part here. So that's the other thing, I'm trying to think about seeing it from different angles and how that's going to look. Side here as well. And then what I might do is give it all a little bit of a buff and a shine, and then we'll see where we are. I said I'm trying to hit the edges as well, just so that it looks pretty from every direction. It's looking real. This is sort of like shabby chic and distressed. It's got that distressed feel about it, but it's also got a gorgeous metallic sheen to it, which is just a bit cool. So, okay, we've got that. I'm going to give my finger a little wipe, I think, and then we'll come in with some gold. Now, I might have to make, this has sort of hit lots of different colours, so I might end up making the whole handle gold. I'll see. Right, this Pebeo wax a little bit goes a long way. And this is proper furniture grade, whereas obviously the Nuvo stuff is for crafting with. So it does have a slightly different property to it. Now the cool thing about this gold stuff is this will buff up. I'm not quite sure how much the Nouveau mousses will buff up. We'll find that out in a moment, but we will see how we go. But yeah, we're definitely getting a very multi-tonal look to this. I think it's looking quite cool. Quite happy. As I said, I've not done a full mixed media piece in forever, so I am liking this, to be honest. I'm liking where it's going. Oops. So I hadn't intended to put quite so much gold on there, but now I'm just going with it because I think we kind of need to. I might add a bit more pink on in a bit. We'll just see. Right. Oops. So occasionally you get bits like that happen and you end up with more than you'd intended. And as I said, you sort of just have to go very, very canny, or just you're going to have to go with it. But yeah, I think we're alright. I'm going to get some gold around the edge of this a little bit. It gets stuck in my nails. I end up finding a little bit of a supply behind my nail, which is a little bit gross, I suppose. But right, let's get that on. Get that on round here. But it's cool. I'm thinking the different colours will go very well with the images. That is my hope anyway. Right, I'm just going to give this a little buff up and see what happens to the Nouveau mousses, whether we lose them to the gold or whether they will buff as well. So I've just got my rag. Oh yeah, they're withstanding a buff, so that's good, which means we can get a really good shine on this gold, because as I said, this is furniture grade, so it is designed to be buffed like this. So if you can, that's good. But what I do tend to find, unless I am losing a bit of the blue, what you do tend to find is the craft waxes don't tend to withstand the same use. They're not really designed for this because it's just a different product for a different market, but it's like as crafters we've sort of stolen the Pebble gilding wax for us, even though it was designed for furniture people. But the pink is withstanding, so that's the deco art. The pink's withstanding. The colour that I'm losing the most is the blue, but it's still remaining, so I think we're okay. Doesn't that look cool? So different from when we started. Okay, so that is all looking good. Now, should I do the same to the inside? Let's have a little look. I think I might to the frames here. So I've been waffling on and there's not much more to say. So yeah, I'll just do that and then I'll come back. Okay, so I have, let's have a little look see. Inside we've sort of decorated the frame part and just so that it sort of ties in, and I've made it a bit heavier on the sides as well, just to sort of blend it in. So now let's start playing with what we have here. So I'm thinking all of these have, I'm going to take the chimney off this one just so that I can butt it right against the edge. Straighten that up as well, yeah, just so that I can get that fitting nicely in there, and then we can build up from there and work out what we are doing. So I'm just going to grab my glue, which is going to come down the bottle at some point in time. There we go. It's playing nice now. Okay, so we'll pop one there, and we'll have another one. Like so. Okay. Right. I'm going to maybe pop that a bit higher actually, just so that it reaches the top and we get a bit more of a, we can see the houses a bit better. Let's get those up at the top, and we'll deal with the gap that's at the bottom a bit later, because as I said, we're thinking of having some houses here. So I'm going to stick this one on as is, and then I'm going to look in to start chopping some up a little bit. Sounds a bit mean, that, doesn't it? Chopping them up. Right, I'm going to just chop this one here, so that I've got that there, like so. And then now we've got an even number of houses, so I feel like we need one more. What I might do is, let's chop this one here, because that could still be a house. So like we've almost got two houses within one there. We'll pop that one there, just there, like so. Right, we might need to get some stronger adhesive out, I think. It's just, and it's got to survive transportation down to the studios as well, so let's just get it stuck properly, because yeah, it's not, well, that one's slightly adhered. It's not wanting to adhere as well as I would like it to adhere, so let's just do it properly. Right, so I'll get that down, and this one, like so. There we go. I just thought you can just imagine this in a little, I don't know, in your hallway or something, holding your keys. Holding your keys. I always lose my keys. Does anyone else always lose their keys? And we don't have like my in-laws and stuff have a place where you come in through the door, sort of like a table where you can put your keys. We don't have anything like that. And my husband also likes to leave them on the floor. That's his father's a firefighter, and my brother-in-law was as well, and it's to do with that, because if a building was to fill with smoke, you need stuff lower down, so he won't put them on a table or something. They end up staying in the hallway floor, but not near enough to the door, so it's so that if we have to crawl out in a fire, we can still pick up the keys. It's not that we just randomly leave things on the floor because we're mingers. Okay. Oh, look at that. So this is the thing. It's looking at these houses as well. And like they're really tall, but that makes it like a little cottage all by itself. So feel free, if you do end up investing in these gorgeous little houses, feel free to sort of chop them up and make them your own. Okay. So that's looking quite good there. I like that. Right. I'm going to get some clouds in the mix because I just love clouds. So I'm going to just sort of chop this one in half a little bit. And we can stick that there. And we can have the other half of that coming out here. I'll probably stick some more down before we're done, but that'll do for the minute. Okay, and we've got some little trees that we could pop down. Let me see, maybe this one. So I'll pop that down as well. And it's building up. Right. I'm going to put some of the small clouds because I kind of fancy some sort of overlap in the buildings a little bit. Just because I can, really. Right, that's going to need a bit more gel medium. And just to keep it stoked, just hold it down a second. So don't forget that although we're sort of dealing with paper, normal paper cutouts and things, that because we've put this on top of, we've got gesso down, we've got some of those mousses down, that it might just need a little bit of help. I may stick a bit of cardboard behind these bits just to keep them secure. We'll see. I'm going to put a sticky fingerprint in that, so let's see. We might have to have a double cloud going on to cover that, because I'm going to get my fingers in it. And then I'll maybe chop a big one again and pop it coming this side. Maybe I need a bit more of it as well. And we can have that coming here, like so. Oh, I love it! I love it, I love it. I'm very, very happy. Right. I'm also, once I have done this, right, should we have, I don't know if we should have some greenery at the front as well. I think so. I think it would be nice. Right, so get some glue on that, and then just on the edge of the heat here so it catches that little house. So we do have sentiments in this stamp set, which I might go back and get those in a bit, but I think that's as doing good. I'm just going to slather a lot more, oops, a lot more gesso, not gesso, gel medium on that, just to make sure it's stuck. I'm just going to put up this excess because I don't particularly want a big lump of glue showing on my house. I'm just needing enough that this is stuck down properly. Okay. Oh, I like. Okay. So, I can see me having two, because I really fancy putting some like glossy accents on some of the windows. This needs to go in the post tomorrow, but I should have time to maybe film first thing just to show it all finished. Right, so I'm going to pop that down now. Let's see what we have left. So because we chopped those houses down, we've actually got a bit more to play with, which is quite cool. So we've got that. Or do I want, no, right, let's stick that in here. So we'll pop this down. As I said, I might cut out one of the fences. I have painted the fences, I've just not cut them out. So I may cut some of those out for the inside of the box. Actually as well, just going to cut this straight as well. I probably should have done that before I glued it. I just want to be able to butt it against the edge of this frame. So I'm just kneading. There we go. Oops. It's creaking a little bit. Apparently I'm needing alerted. I don't know what about, but I'm sure I'm going to have a child come in running through here in a second to alert me to something. Don't know quite what I'm needing alerted to. But there we go. There we go. Oh, look. Likey. Okay. So as I said, I am putting loads on, but this is a mixed media card as well, so it will take all these mediums. You're not going to damage the card by doing it. Oh, I think it's about Carmen Sandiego. She loves Carmen Sandiego. And the last, you know, pre-lockdown, I know they're back at school now, but World Book Day, she dressed up as Carmen Sandiego. I altered an old coat of mine and an old hat. Apparently there's a new series coming out in October, so that may be what the excitement is about. I don't know. She loves spy things. And I bought her a whole load of spy kit toys. So she has motion sensors in her bedroom and a watch with motion sensors and all sorts of things. What's the other one she likes? Project MC Squared. That as well. So there we go. I am loving this so much. Kind of want to keep it, but I have to send it to the Selly Telly world. Okay, let's get some more on this. I'm going to peel that back up again. There we go. Right. Have we got another big one here that I can sort of chop in half? I'll put that there. There we go. I'll grab a spare brush. Make sure that if you have, put your brush in gel medium to get it in water straight away, because that is one surefire way to destroy your brushes, is to stick them in gel medium. Right, let's get some trees on the matter. So it's nice doing stuff. Quite often with mixed media we can end up putting lots of you know, bits and pieces like buttons and texture and stuff like this. I haven't actually gone for a lot of texture with this. We've done this all with our stamps, but it's still really impressive. It still really stands out and it's a little bit different. And if you know somebody that, you know, loses their keys all the time, a great gift. Right. I've got a little dinky cloud going on there as well. What I might do is just sort of tuck it behind that tree a little bit. There we go. And then I think I'm going to put a couple more dinky clouds. Again, I'm going to chop the edge off. I like it so it kind of looks like it's disappearing off the page. And then I will get another one to go up here somewhere. Actually, I'm going to chop that one. Seems to be massacring all of my clouds. I'm just going to chop that one and then butt it against this house. Because it's kind of already stuck, I don't think I'm going to be able to pull that up and slot it behind. Cool! So that is looking quite good. Now, should we have just... I've got some trees here. Just wondering whether we could put some trees and things just along here. I've got a little mini house left. What have I got? What have I got? I've got another big cloud. So we could have a cloud, or I don't know whether just to leave. I think I might just leave it actually. Right, so I am just going to let that dry. I think that's all okay. We're good to go there. Right, so I'm just going to pause the camera a second, and I think I am just going to grab some Nuvo drops and things. I was just about to put that in my cup of tea. Right, yep, I'm just going to grab some Nuvo drops just to sort of give those glass windows a bit more dimension, and also maybe just to sort of pop some dots around it a little bit. Yeah, back in a mo. Okay, so I have just grabbed my clear Nuvo drops. I don't know, I find Nuvo drops easier to use than glossy accents for some bizarre reason. I'm not sure why. And I'm just going to pop this across all of this, like so. Right, and I'm just going to do the windows, I think, and I also sort of want to do just in general some more glossy dots around the project. Part of me is looking at this edge and it's feeling just slightly untidy. What I will do is once I've got all of this down, I will sort of bash my project, I know that sounds daft, but I'll sort of tap it against my worktop just to try and level off these drops a little bit. So as I said, I'm just popping them in the windows just to give them a bit of a glossy feel. Now I'll have to wait till morning for that to dry properly for us to see the full effect. Hopefully we're all good. Right. Oops. So yep, filling this down. I think I'll just give it a nice finishing touch. I don't know, I find this easier to use. It levels better than the glossy accents, and I also find that I don't find air bubbles as much of an issue. Now, this is me turning my work because you know, it was getting uncomfortable there. So that's the thing, if you're working on something, don't try and bend your arms so that you can work on it. Move the project so that you're comfortable. It's more important that you're comfortable. But it's amazing how many people, I find myself doing it as well, you can forget to do that. You just suddenly find yourself holding your arm in a really unnatural way. I'm thinking, what's that all about? So it's a good thing to just remind ourselves of. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to do, I'm not going to try and get fancy and do the in-between the frame. I think that could end up just looking a bit strange anyway, because I'm not going to get it overly accurate. Now I've ended up with blobs of gel medium that have just kind of formed just because of the way it had gone, so I'm definitely going to cover those up with a few dots. I'm just kind of going to go round my project now and just add a few little, these will sort of dry into nice clear gems. They can be stars or raindrops, whatever we want them to be. At the minute it's just a finishing touch. Let's see how that is looking. Let's get in there. Right, let's bring, I'm going to bring some down across the project as well, so that we maybe have some over here. Maybe have one down here as well. Let's see. How's that looking? And what I meant about bashing it, if I just kind of do that a little bit, it will help things to self-level. Now I was wondering whether to get in with my Nouveau Misses and just try and neaten up the edge of that, but I'm in danger of knocking the Nouveau drops, but we'll see how we go. I'm just kind of almost wanting it to be a little bit neater just against this top edge. I don't know if that's ended up being too heavy now. This is what happens when you start faffing. Right, just pull that down. As I said, if I do it too much, it's going to knock what I've done with the drops. So I think what I'm going to have to do is leave all of that to dry and then decide on that in the morning. So I'll be back in the morning to finish this off with you. Okay, so this is it all finished. I actually decided not to go with making that blue, and I blacked out what I'd done just with a bit of dry brushing with black gesso, but that's all done. So we've got some nice sheen on the windows there. So this is
going to be on Hachanda, and I'm sure the stamps will also end up on the Dolly Dimples website as well, but I will I will link to everything below. So that is my little key case all finished. Thank you ever so much for joining me. If you have enjoyed it here, please do consider liking and subscribing, and I'll be back with you again very soon. Okay, take care then, and goodbye.